So now we're going to have a look at the basics of if statements. We're not going to get too deep into it. So an if statement is basically a statement that is going to be true or false. And if it's true, what it's going to do is it's going to run the code inside of the if statement. So let's just say true statement. Okay. But if it was false, then it just won't run this code. If we want it to do something else instead of that, so if it was false, then it will skip this code and it'll go to this code. So let's say we copy this down. If it was false, then it will say that it was a false statement. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a Boolean of true or false. It can be an actual statement that is true or false. So let's say 1 equals 1. We need to do a double equals when we're doing if statements, otherwise it's not going to work. A single equals is for assigning a value to something. But anyway, that is a true statement. So 1 is obviously the same as 1. Is 1 smaller than 1? No, it's not. So that's a false statement. Is 1 smaller than 2? Yes, so that's a true statement. Is 1 bigger than 2? No, so that's a false statement. There's other stuff that we can put in here. We can also negate whatever is in here. So let's say this was just true. So then that's going to return true, as we showed before. But what we can do is not. And then that will just negate whatever the statement is. So if the statement was returning true, it's going to turn it into false. So there we go. And if the statement was false, then it's going to turn it into true. So let's have a look how we might use it a little bit more practically. So let's say we're counting something. Let's say pets. So we've got a list of pets. We've got a cat, 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 dog. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this into a for loop. If you haven't seen the for loops, then what I can do is I can put a link in the description so that you can see our for loops. But anyway, a for loop can be used to go through this sequence in the list. So it's going to run the code for this first one, then the second one, then the third one, then the fourth one. So we're going to do for pet in pets. So that's going to be for each pet. If pet is a cat, then we're going to do cats. We're going to increment that. So cat count is going to increase, but we need to initialize a cat count. We'll initialize that at 0. And so each time it finds a pet that's a cat, then it's going to count it. And then what we'll do is at the end of the loop, we're just going to print how many cats we've got. So print cats. And we've got cats. There we go. Oh, if pet equals cat. Oh, forgot to put the colon at the end of here. And so it ends with that we've got 3 cats, and that's all it prints. All right, what we can also do is if we have a dog count, and then what we can do is we can put in an elif, which is, it's not just an else, because an else will always run. So if that's not true, if we put else here, then it's always going to run the code underneath the else. But if we do elif, which is else if, it only runs that code if the next statement is true. So if it's a dog, then it's going to increment dogs count. So we'll do that, and we'll copy this line and make that dogs. And what did I do? Oh, that's just dog, not dogs. There we go. So it's counted that we've got 3 cats because it's gone through each item in the list and counted the cats, and then it counted the dog as well at the end. And if we wanted to add more, then the number would change. So if we added a dog to our list, then now it's 3 cats and 2 dogs, and so on. So those are the real basics of if statements. If we get a little bit more complex, what we can do is if, let's go back to this and we'll say if the number of cats is greater than 2 and the number of dogs is greater than, well, let's just do both of them greater than 1. If the number of cats is greater than 1, the number of dogs is greater than 1, then print we have so is this true? Is the number of cats greater than 1, the number of dogs greater than 1? Let's have a look. Yes, so we have at least 1 cat and 1 dog. But then if we do or, then that's not going to change because this is not an exclusive or. This is and or. So it's either we have at least 1 cat or we have at least 1 dog. So that's still going to stay true. But if we did this as, if we had our and then we got rid of our dogs, then it runs a code. Oh, that's because this is or. We want this is an and. Then when it runs a code, we don't have more than 1 cat and more than 1 dog. So we can leave the ifs there for now. We won't really get more complicated than that because this is just beginner's information. So if there's anything in here that you didn't understand, have a look at the channel. I'm sure there's other stuff that will help you out. As I said, we worked with for loop in this, and I do have a video on for loops which I will put in the description for you to have a look at. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll be putting out more videos like this.